Right, the way I feed my starter, I started with just a little bit in the bottom of the jar. And it's wet because I added 50 grams of water. And now I'm going to add in 50 grams of flour. Da, 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 da. 83. And I stir the water in first because that loosens up the starter in the container. I went to 102, but that's fine. It did not have to be exact. Anyway, so that loosens up the water in the container and I let starter in the container and gets it all easier to mix with the flour. Make sure it's all incorporated in there. So then I'll mix the flour together and I'll set the band right about where it is. And this band slides up and down where the level is. I'll let it sit on the counter for about 4 hours, and that should be way higher. Super easy. I only feed it when I'm going to use it, and that's how it works. So I'm going to stir it up real quick. All right, so I stirred it up, and now you can see it's mixed in there pretty good. I'm going to set this. It's pretty much at the level. Well, this container, it's super easy to tell how when it doubles up. But so it has 50 grams of water, 50 grams of flour into what I originally had, which is probably close to 30 or 40 grams to start in the container. I'll let this rise for a couple hours, and then it'll be ready to use for bread. So there you go. All right, so it's 12:40, so you can see how that guy's doubled in size. It's all airy and bubbly. That means it's ready to go. So what I have here is I have 450 grams of flour. I'm using bread flour. I'm using King Arthur's white. You can also use an artisan flour. That's also a bread flour. Any type of bread flour works. You can go 50-50 on this. You can go 25-75. I've done it 50 grams of this and through 400 of this. Whatever. So as long as you have 450 grams of total flour between whatever, you're fine. As far as I just use bread flour. I have 10 grams of salt. I have 350 grams of water. And I have the starter that I'm going to use 100 grams from here. Remember, I added 50 and 50 in the morning to the 25 that was in there. So when I pull the 50-50 out, there should be just enough left to be down at that line to put back in the fridge. So the order I'm doing this in, I'm going to put the water first into this bowl. Another bowl here. You don't need the scale anymore because it's all weighed out. I'm going to put the water into the bowl here. And then I'm going to add the sourdough starter and mix that up with a whisk. And then I'm going to add the flour on top of that. And then I'm going to add the salt on top of the flour. And I'm going to use a stiff spatula to bring it all together and whisk it in. So I'll whisk first to get the starter mixed with the water. And then add the flour, the salt on top of the flour, then do a whisk for the whole thing. And you want to mix it for about, this is the kind of whisk spatula I use. You want to whisk it for about a minute until it just comes into like a ball and all the dry stuff gets off the edges. You can also do that with your hands, but I just use a spatula. Okay, here we go. All right, so I put the starter in, and I went to 103 grams. It doesn't really matter. You can go 5 grams either way. But see how it floats in there? That means you know that the starter's ready to go as well. So now I'm going to whisk this up, and then I'll be ready to go with just whisk that in there. Nice and mixed. Then I'll bring the flour in on top of that. Flour goes there, and then the salt I'll put on top of the flour. Good enough. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to go down underneath, mix it, and you can kind of see. I'm going to bring it all together, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all mixed. So what I do with this is I'm kind of bringing it up and I'm mushing it. I'm mushing it down, scooping underneath. Getting all the dry stuff off the edges. I'm mushing it down. It's almost done already. All right, so that's what it should look like after the first mix. It only took about a minute or two to get it like that. And again, you just mash it with and get underneath it. Scrape off the edges. You have to use a pretty stiff spatula for that. If you can see, this is what I have left of the starter after I pulled out the 100. It doesn't look like a lot in there, but you just set this in the fridge. And when you're ready to make bread, just add 50 and 50. And that'll double after a few hours, and you have enough to make bread for the day. So all we're talking about in this is sourdough bread. I'm not talking about any starter or discard recipes or anything. That's a whole different thing. Anyway, so now I'm going to cover this with saran, I'm gonna let it sit either on the counter, or if you have an oven that has a proof setting, that's fine. Or if you have an oven that has an oven light, that's fine. Because oven light with no power on it, with no power to the oven, puts it at about proofing temperature of about 80 to 90 degrees. So a half hour, I'm gonna do the first stretch and folds. All right, so we had it in our little oven. It has a proof setting of 80 degrees. So it's been there a half hour. That's what it looks like. So this is called stretch and folds. You want to do this every 30 minutes. So I'm going to get my hands wet. I'm going to come back and do it, but that's what it looks like to start. All right, so what you want to do, just back this up a little bit, you want to reach underneath the end, you want to bring it up and fold it over. Get your hands underneath it, bring it up and fold it over. I'm going to do 16 of these. This is number 3. I'm only using one hand, so it's kind of tough, but you see the method. If you have 2 hands, you can hold the bowl. And do it. That's 4, turn the bowl, that's 5. You can already see it's starting to change shape a little bit and tighten up. 6. Okay, I'm going to put this on pause. I'm going to do 16. I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I did 16 of those, and you can see it got harder to stretch the more you do it. Now we got another 30 minutes, and we'll do it again. All right, it's been a second 30 minutes in here. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to go over here. I'll zoom out a little bit. Take the top off. And you can see it's definitely spread out a little bit. So I'm going to get my hands wet and do the stretch and fold. All right, same thing. Whoa, definitely got a little bit stretchier. Whoa. This time I only want to do it 8 times. I did 16 the first time. I'll do it 8 this time. 4. You can see it really shapes a lot easier too. 5, 6, 7, and this guy's way up and over. There. Again, I'm only doing this one-handed, so I'm not quite doing the best job, but getting it in there. All right, and that's it. Now we have another 30 minutes to sit, and then we're going to come back and switch containers and put it for a long rise. All right, after the proof, we're going to be putting it in this banneton basket. And this has rice flour in it. I put about a tablespoon of rice flour. Just kind of rotate it around a little bit. This is what I do. There's probably 1,000 ways you could do this. It just helps it become nonstick when it does it overnight in the fridge. So just kind of roll it around a little bit. I probably put too much in there, but yeah, I'm sure I did. I'm going to pour some out. But anyway, yeah, so that's probably better. Anyway, that's what it's going to go in later. So I just want to do a quick video on that. And this is going to be the bowl that it rises in for the long term. So it's just a glass bowl with a lid. And I'm going to lightly oil with avocado oil or grapeseed oil or neutral oil. Just the inside of this very light coating to make it a little bit better. So anyway, that's going to be coming up. All right, so now pulling it out, I'm going to do the third stretch and fold. But I'm going to do it in here. It's just easier for the final rise. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil in here. And I'm going to do a little paper towel and spread it around, and we're going to do it. So hold on. All right, put a little avocado oil in there. Just put it around and around the edges. Spin it, spin it. Okay, that's good enough. Now this is going to come off. And I'm going to put this, you can use oh, I gotta get my hands wet, hold on. All right, let's see how easy it is to come out. Okay, so it comes out pretty good. I'm gonna use 2 hands and put it in the bowl, and I'll come right back. I'm planning just scraping out underneath into the bowl. All right, so it's into the bowl, and we're gonna do kind of the 4 stretch and folds. 1, 2, see how it's a lot thicker now. It's a lot, I don't know how to describe it, but it's smooth and nice, and you don't have to do exactly 4. We'll do like 6. Now I'm going to kind of shape it and put it in a bowl, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to like kind of, actually, you know, it's probably fine just the way it is. So I'm going to, just to try it like this, put the top on, and then back, and see the level of it is here. I'm going to look at that in about 3 to 4 hours. It should be a lot bigger. So there we go. And see you in a few hours. There's no set time on this. Some people it takes 3 hours. Some people it takes 4.5 hours. So just kind of look. And when it about doubles in size, you'll be ready for the next step. Okay, so it's been about 3 hours. So you can see this guy has gotten pretty big inside. So what I'm going to do, I've got some flour on this, on a workspace. I got flour on my hands. Flour is your friend on this. Okay, so what you want to do is, hold on, press pause for a second. All right, so what we want to do is we want to get this out. Yeah, actually recording it, we are. Get this out. It's pretty easy to do with one of these guys, a little, whatever this thing's called. Just get it out on the table. Comes out. It's a little bit sticky. Looks beautiful, though. Look how much it rose. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. And you can do a little bit of flour on it. Flour in your hands. Ooh, oh yeah, it needs flour. It's warm. Wow. So anyway, so you want to get this into a ball. So you want to take it and kind of around and under, like this, around, and it's going to tighten it up. And I'm going to get a little more flour in my hands because it's really, really wet. Okay, around. Tighten it as you can. Just like hold this hand steady and kind of go under and around to bring it like that. That's my method. There's probably other methods that are better. And this is it. So then you want to set it on the counter here. I'll reshape that later. On the counter here for a half hour. So it's already done the bulk fermentation, the bulk rise, like this for a half hour. Then we'll come back and we'll do the final shaping. We'll put it in the Banneton basket and into the fridge. So there we go.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So it's been a half hour. You can see it's spread out a little bit on the counter. I'm going to put some more flour on it, flour on my hands. This Banneton basket I've lined with rice flour, just a little bit, like maybe half a tablespoon's enough to get it going. So the plan is now we're going to shape it into the round ball. We're going to put it upside down in the Banneton basket and we'll put it in the fridge overnight. So that's kind of the plan. So to do that, you want to get this off the counter. Like this is. Turn it over. Pop, like that. A little bit more flour in the hand. You want to stretch it out into like a square. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Again, there's many ways to do this. This is just the way I do it. When you have it in a square, fold this guy over, this over, this over, this over, this over, and then kind of keep going a little bit. Get it into like, and you want to press this so it all comes together. It's in a nice tight little ball. There we go. Tightening the edges like this. And like this. Now we want to take it and into the basket. And this is going to go in the fridge. Hold on. Overnight. And it'll even out and get all round again. But anyway, in the fridge overnight. At least 8 hours, but it's 6 o'clock at night right now. We'll make the bread tomorrow at about 7:30 in the morning in the fridge. That's it. Okay, it's the morning. I have put the Dutch oven in the oven and I have set it at 500 degrees. It's been in there about a half hour, so it takes about 20 minutes. You want to make sure the Dutch oven's super hot. And while I'm doing that, I want to take an aside real quick, and you want to do this on parchment paper. So the easiest thing to do is take a square piece of parchment paper. I got to do this one-handed, so I kind of have to pre-fold it. Fold it, and fold it, then fold it, then fold it. And then what you want to do is you want to take it and hold it to the pan. This is the same size as the one we're going to use. Hold it on there like that, and I'm going to cut at the end. I'm going to cut the end off, and I'll show you how to do it right now. But that'll make a perfect circle. So I cut it to the end there. I cut it off. And when I open it up, surprise, it will be, again, everything's one-handed because I don't have a hand. There. Fits much better in the bottom that way. Oh my God, I'm really lame. There. Better in the bottom. All right, next step. We're going to take the Dutch oven out. I'm going to put it up here, get your hot pot holders. I have a thing of water here, a spritzer, a water bottle, and I have a lame ready to go too. All right, next step. I'm going to pull the Dutch oven out. I'm going to get the bread out of the fridge. It's been there all night. do not need to pre-get it out of the fridge. And I'm going to put it on the parchment paper and put it in the Dutch oven. Okay, here we go. All right, here's the bread just pulled out of the fridge. Dutch oven is hot, dark red, hot. That's what the bread looks like. You want to loosen it around the edges. We'll loosen it around the edges. I'm going to take the parchment paper. I'm going to be taking this. I'm going to put it out either in my hand or onto the parchment paper. It's going to be on the parchment paper in just a second. Ready to go. And there it is. It's on the parchment paper. I'm going to take the lame thing, and because it's cold, so it'll be easier to do. You want to. I can't do it with two hands because it's going to slide, but I'll try. That's a terrible cut because, again, I can't hold it with one hand. I'm going to put this down for a second. I did a deep cut where you go in at an angle and around like that. I did a little less deep, just did a line with some things on it to make it look like a little leaf thing. This is going to go in the Dutch oven, and the next step is right next. All right, dropped it in the Dutch oven. Now I'm going to do a couple spritzes and put the top right on it. Make sure you have your pot holder, and don't do it without the pot holder. 5 or 6 squirts. Okay, this is going to go back in the 500-degree oven, 500 degrees for 20 minutes. I'm going to take the lid off, and it should be poofy. It should have expanded. And then I'm going to leave it in for an extra 15 to 20 minutes with the top off, and I'm going to lower the temperature to 475 when I take the top off. Okay, it's in the oven at 500. We have convection, but it's not on convection. It's just on bake. You don't really need that with this type of thing. 20 minutes. I'm going to pull the lid off. I'm going to lower the temperature to 475, and I'm going to leave it in there for another 15 to 20 minutes till it's done. One thing I'll say I forgot to add yesterday, apparently, is when I did the original feeding of the sourdough in the morning, that rose for about 3 to 4 hours. I think that's the only thing I forgot to mention. It went in at about 8 o'clock, and I was ready to use the sourdough starter in the recipe at about 12:30, I think. So, okay, on to the next step in 20 minutes. All right, so it's been 20 minutes. I'm going to be pulling off the top and big reveal and see if we got the expansion we were looking for. All right, look at that. That's the what's called the ear. I went too deep on the second cut, but the lid is now off. Temperature 475 and 15 minutes. Temperature 475, update, and 15 minutes. Then we're going to pull it out, and we're done. All right, so I'm not sure you can see it, but in there, you need to kind of watch it as it's going. If you have a glass front, it's easier, obviously. But I dropped it down to 450 with this loaf because it started to get a little bit dark. It's been 10 minutes, and the ear started to get a little bit dark, so I dropped the temperature down to 450 to finish it off. It's going to be fine temperature-wise and inside-wise, but I just want to, if it gets too dark on the ear, just kind of monitor it. I usually check about after 10 minutes like I just did. I just dropped it down for the last 5 minutes down to 450. All right, so it's been 15 minutes. We're going to take a look. And this is going to be a judgment call. Whoa, a little steam or heat. This is going to be a judgment call on your part. To me, this looks pretty good, so I'm going to probably pull it and get it out, put it on a, let me pull it out. All right, so out of the oven, looks pretty darn good. I use a spatula, like just to get it out of there. I'm going to get this out of here, put it on a wire rack, and that'll be it. All right, so there it is. It's done. Nice ear on that. The color's good. Around this side, color's good. We'll let this cool off for about, I go at least an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then we'll cut into it. I also bought these bread bags. Paper's always best for sourdough. Let it get completely cool first before you cut into it, or well, you can cut it in a little bit warm, I guess, before you store it. Don't store it in plastic right away. I store it in the paper for 2 days on the counter, and then after 2 days, if we haven't eaten it all, I'll put it in the fridge after the first 2 days, and then a couple more days in the fridge, and we still haven't eaten it all, then I'll cut it in slices and put it in the freezer so we can just use for toast. But anyway, there you go. So I hope that was helpful. And shape isn't great on this, but I think I did everything one-handed, so it was kind of, but anyway, turned out really good. So there you go. All right, so I just cut it, and I usually cut it across the middle. And then when we go to use it, we go out from the middle out on both sides. That way we can store it in the bag kind of tight against itself. So here's the crumb. Looks pretty darn good. Could have been a little bit more, but it's pretty good for doing this all one-handed, so to speak. And maybe a little bit higher hydration will make it a little bit more bubbly, but it looks really good. So yeah, there you go. All done.